we understand how important budgeting for your works is. Whether you're building an extension to your property or converting the roof space, you need to ensure that you don't just budget for the design and building of your project, but also the professional fees associated with the work. This video will give you an idea of how much you should budget for party wall works. A party wall is a wall that stands astride the boundary of land belonging to two or more owners and either forms part of a building, separates two or more buildings, or consists of a party fence wall. A wall is a party fence wall if it is not part of a building and it stands astride the boundary between the land of different owners, as a way of separating their land. For example, a masonry garden wall. Wooden fences and hedges are not defined as party fence walls. A wall is also a party wall if it stands wholly on one owner's land, but is used by two or more building owners to separate their buildings. Bearing in mind that fees for serving notices can vary between surveyors, we find that serving notice can cost in the region of £150 to £250 plus VAT. A building owner will be required to give 1 month's notice for excavation works and 2 months' notice for building works which affect a party wall or party structure. Your neighbour will then have 14 days to respond to that notice. It is worth mentioning that the person drafting the notice does not need to be a construction professional. However, due to the nature of the works and the associated risks, we would strongly recommend that such documents are drafted by a surveyor that has a good and thorough understanding of the Party Wall, etc. Act 1996. We commonly see incorrect and invalid notices, which can serve to delay works, which in turn can increase costs. Sometimes this even happens when served by a professional surveyor, so it is worth ensuring that you are represented by a true party wall specialist. If your neighbour consents to the works, then you will not have any further costs in discharging your party wall obligations. However, you should consider protecting yourself from any spurious claims of damage from your neighbour. One method of doing so is instructing a surveyor to carry out a photographic schedule of condition. Just to remind you, a photographic schedule of condition will document the condition of the adjoining owner's property. It is wise to prepare one even if the adjoining owner consents to your proposed works. Clearly documenting the condition of the adjoining owner's property with a schedule of condition before any building work starts will make any later dispute over damages much more straightforward to assess and resolve. This is because the surveyors will be easily able to determine if the alleged damage already existed or is new and has been caused by the works. The cost of a schedule of condition can vary depending on the type and extent of the works, the subject building, and the travel time. However, as a rule, you should allow between £500 and £1,000 plus VAT for a schedule of condition. You may also need to allow for this to be carried out on multiple buildings if you are dealing with more than one neighbour. If your neighbour dissents to the works or does not respond to the notices, a party wall award will need to be prepared. The award will document what works will take place and the requirements for these to be enabled by the Act. The Party Wall, etc. Act 1996 comprises 22 sections, and the award will be served for works which reference a number of these sections. The award will consider items such as building along the line of junction, methods of construction, rights of entry, any specific disputes, easements, and compensation. It is important to note that an award serves to benefit both parties. Not only will it serve to enable the works, but it also protects the adjoining owner from any damage caused by those works. The adjoining owner will have the opportunity to appoint their own surveyor to act on their behalf, or use your surveyor or theirs as an agreed surveyor. If your neighbour does not respond to the notice, the building owner is required to appoint a surveyor on their behalf. This can prove costly for the building owner wishing to carry out the works, who will be required to pay the fees of both surveyors. To help you have an indication of costs, you can expect each party wall surveyor to charge between £1,000 and £1,500 plus VAT per award. Sometimes surveyors will charge extra for photographic schedules of condition, However, at Harris & Clark, we include this cost within the award. You also need to remember that if multiple neighbours are involved, you may need to multiply this cost by the number of neighbours you are issuing notice to. Once the award has been completed and works have begun, in some instances, disputes can still arise. You may need the help from your surveyor in the form of advice or re-inspection. We often find this happens when a neighbour believes damage has been caused to their property. In this case, surveyors will often charge an hourly rate, as it is difficult to offer a fixed fee where there are so many unknowns. Depending on that surveyor's experience and expertise, they may charge between £120 and £350 plus VAT per hour for this work. You should always ask your surveyor to confirm that hourly rate as part of their fee proposal. At Harris & Clark, we are happy to chat through the process and costs before you commit to our appointment. We always recommend speaking to a surveyor early on to help you budget accordingly. We always take a proactive approach to ensure that your project can run as smoothly as possible, and we will always look to minimise your cost. We are not here to create a dispute where there isn't one, and want to ensure that you can maintain a relationship with your neighbours. Some of the ways we achieve this are by understanding your relationship with your neighbours, encouraging you to discuss the planned works in full with your neighbours before you issue notice, discussing the best way to serve notice without worrying your neighbours, finding out your neighbours' concerns and addressing them early on to minimise the chance of them dissenting to your notice. We understand that planning and carrying out works on your property is incredibly stressful. At Harris & Clark, we love to take as much of this stress away as possible. If you would like some advice on how to best approach your party wall obligations, feel free to call one of our helpful and experienced party wall surveyors on 023 8155 0051. We look forward to speaking with you.